Hi, this is Russ with RST Coaching Academy located here in Daytona Beach, Florida. I am the host of Daytona Beach Business Talks, where we have the privilege and the honor of showcasing and highlighting area businesses. And to that end, we present them to you so you can get to know them. Hopefully, you'll find yourself interested in their products and services and want to do some business with them. So here we are. We'll get on to this next program, and thank you for tuning in.
Okay.
Hey there, good morning, everybody in Daytona Beach and actually around the world. This is Russ from RST Coaching Academy with another presentation of Money Talks on one podcast, and the one here in Daytona is called Daytona Beach Business Talks. Both places we're going to talk about business, we're going to talk about money, how to make more money, how to be successful in business. And today I have a special guest on from the Daytona Beach area, friend of mine who also happens to be my landlord, and from a month now into it. And he's going to talk about that business and how we've come to know each other. And so without further ado, I want to introduce to you Zachary Cox here in the Daytona Beach, Sanford, Florida area. He's probably a man about the county around the state, let him get into that and tell his story. But Zach, glad to have you with us today, and welcome aboard. And tell us where you came from. How did you get into what you're doing now, what your
Yep.
background is, and
Yep.
lessons you've learned along the way. And then tell us about your current focus and how it's going to help people, say, in this Daytona Beach area, build their businesses. Okay, so go for it.
Absolutely. First of all, Russ, I just want to say thanks for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you over these last couple of months. Like you said, my name is Zachary Cox. I own a co-working space in Central Florida. The name of it's called Workspace-Collective. We have just opened up our third location in Daytona Beach.
What is
Um,
co-working? Define
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
for
going to
people.
say. For those that don't know what co-working is, co-working slash flexible office space, we're sort of redefining how people work. We provide a space for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, freelancers, work from homers, or established businesses that don't want to be tied down to a 3 to 5 year lease. We offer them a space to be able to come in and work. We designed our business to be membership based, so everything is month to month, and we really try to provide turnkey solutions for our members. You can walk in our building today and have a receptionist, a uh, uh, a dedicated phone line, and you can have a space to work where you have unlimited Wi-Fi, coffee, snacks, refreshments, networking, everything you need to be successful, and you only have to commit to 30 days. And again, the goal when we started this was what I'm passionate about, what my team is passionate about, is helping small business owners become successful. We want to remove all of the obstacles, as many of the obstacles we can from small business owners to help them reach their goals. And that's really why we started it in 2019.
So that's where it all started in 2019 with
That's
your
right.
first location in Ocala, Florida.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and then you grew to a second location in Ocala,
Yes, sir.
which is folks from Daytona Beach. What is it?
Yeah,
Hour.
about an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, so an hour away, two locations of these co-office, co-working places.
Yes, sir.
And one day, evidently, you have a partner, Adam.
Yes, sir.
One day, one of you two must have woken up and said in the morning and said, "Hey, I think we should do this in Daytona Beach too." Is that about how
So
it went?
yeah, so it's funny how you say that. So yes, so we when we started in 2019, it's me and my partner Adam Ramsey and our two wives, Cassandra and Ashley, who are really the brains of the operation. We just sort of do what we're told for the most part. Um, we we're open in Ocala, and when we started this, we knew we wanted to target second and third tier markets like Ocala. You know, Daytona's bigger, obviously, but Daytona Beach for sure, Sanford, because those markets are underserved in this type of environment, And I could make a pretty good argument that there's probably more small business owners in those markets than you would see in like a downtown Orlando, downtown Tampa, downtown
Oh,
Jacksonville.
uh-huh.
And so when we started looking for where our next location was going to be, Daytona jumped out at us. And anybody who is in Florida, or even really across the world, you've heard of Daytona Beach for lots of different reasons.
Right.
But maybe what you haven't heard as of late is how many people are moving to Daytona Beach from out of the state, from around the country, and how big the numbers are growing with demographics. And so we knew we wanted to be there. And to our being pleasantly surprised at how welcoming the business community has been in Daytona Beach. It really has been outstanding to open there and to sort of start building our network and building, our membership base in Daytona.
Uh-huh. Great. And to that end of building and getting the Daytona Beach operation off the ground,
Yes,
you're
sir.
part of the Chamber of Commerce here in Daytona Beach. That's how I
Yes.
met you guys originally, because I'm in
Yes.
that meeting, weekly meeting also. Are you
Yes.
are you members of any of the other local area chambers?
Yeah, so we're a huge proponent on networking in general. In my opinion, and I think Adam and Ashley and Cassandra share the same thing. Networking is the secret sauce to small
Mm.
business owner success. And we've always been a proponent of that. So we joined the Ocala CEP Chamber and Economic Partnership long time ago, 2019, right when we opened. And chamber memberships are like gym memberships. They work really well if you use them. And so you have to get out and meet people and work the system and give back to the community. All things that we are huge proponents of, right? And then what separates Workspace Collective from any of the other co-working spaces out there is we take a genuine interest in making connections for our members to whoever they want to meet. For instance, in Ocala, if I have a member come in and they want to meet the mayor of Ocala, you know what? I happen to work with him a lot. I know Ben. And so I can make an introduction where, some of our competitors might just be more worried about opening new locations and not really the success of their members. And so when we opened in Daytona, I wanted to copy that model that we had built in Ocala. And so the
Uh-huh.
very first thing we did was join the chamber. The second thing we did was ask for leads groups that we could be part of that were affiliated with the chamber. And that's how you and I met, right?
Mhm.
Dakota and I went to the leads group that was affiliated with the chamber. It's industry specific. It's a great group. And you stuck out to me. You made a joke about sailing when you did your first 30-second infomercial about your business. And my wife's family grew up on sailboats,
Uh-huh.
et cetera. So right away, I'm like, this is my guy. I got to make sure I say hello after the fact. And I think we've worked well together since.
No, I would say so. You know what happened, folks, is that he's at this meeting and we, rubbed shoulders and met afterwards, and he just suckered me in, just a little bit at a time,
That's right.
found out where they're located, and actually up until then I've worked exclusively out of my home in DeLand, which is a western suburb of Daytona Beach. And so I think I went down to their office the same day that we met at
You
that
did.
luncheon. And the place was a disaster because what they had done was they had bought this building. It used to be a radio station in town. They bought the building, gutted the thing, and then we're building it up from the floor up. And so it was still really a construction zone. I'm surprised I didn't have to wear a helmet or anything, but
You
but
probably should have.
they
You probably
they were
should
nearing completion, so I guess it wasn't really that bad. But Zach
have.
showed me around, and we had a good time. And I guess I went back there for, I don't know, a couple, 3 weeks, or maybe even four,
Yes.
weekly basis, just as follow up. And then I've been thinking about, and this folks in Daytona Beach, if you're in your home and you're not where the action is. I've wanted to be a Daytona Beach business, be seen as a Daytona Beach business, but in living in the land, it's kind of hard to do that. And so I had a post office box in Daytona Beach, so it's P.O. Box 10529. It looks like I've been in Daytona. But with the inception of Workspace-Collective, I have a physical address now that I can go to this office whenever I want to with my membership, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anytime, day or night, and do what I want, with limitations, within reason. But it's provided me a place to go to. I can work, I can entertain a client or a prospect. There's a meeting room that I can do, I can hold meetings. In fact, I'm maybe even be doing that this afternoon and creating a video.
Nice.
So that I'm kind of speaking for Zach here, blowing his horn, because there's a lot to blow, because I've been impressed from the get-go on what these folks have done for this downtown Daytona Beach area.
Well,
So
Russ, you speak to exactly what I tried to talk about a little bit of the introduction is now, you get, not only do you get an address, but you get an International Speedway address in
yeah,
downtown Daytona Beach
yep,
that now shows up on Google My Business. It
yep,
brings instant credibility. We will now get your mail, we'll sort your mail, we'll put it in your own private mailbox. And so when you're meeting with a client, you come in, you have a 20-person conference room. You've got an 8-person conference room upstairs. You've got a receptionist at the front door. You've got a podcast studio if you want to use it up in the second level, and all of that with a 30-day agreement.
that's right.
And again, it lets you. I think the goal there was to give you as many tools with as little commitment as possible to build your business.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked well.
Yep. Well, and not just the commitment, the low commitment level, but the low pricing level,
Yes,
because
sir.
you have three price tiers, three different ways that a member can come in.
Yes.
So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, and again, in building Workspace Collective, we wanted to price our memberships, especially our first two memberships, where you didn't feel like you had to be in the space 40 hours a week to get the value.
Hmm.
And so we started our base membership, which gives you access to the building Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, at $199 a month. Okay, so that you come into that space, we have a couple first come first serve tables and areas where you can set up shop and work. You have access to that Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. The next tier is what we call our dedicated desks. That gives you your own desk, nobody else sits at. We put your business name, your business sign on the desk. That gives you 24/7 access, and we price that at $325 a month. And again, at $325 a month, you're not strapped down to that desk feeling you have to be there 40 hours a week. Because in today's world, remember the first thing I said was we're sort of redefining how people work.
Yeah.
People like to change their location. They like to work from different places, different venue, different views, all different types of things. And that's what we try to provide as an area in the building. Yes, you have your dedicated desk, but you also can work in our lounge. You can work up in the mezzanine. You can sit in the front and talk with Dakota, or you can have a meeting in one of our phone booths or conference rooms. And then from there, if you want a little bit more private space, we have private offices. And what we figured out when we opened our two locations in Ocala was a huge need for what we call micro offices, offices that are designed for 1 to 2 people.
Hmm.
And so, from a size of the office, think 10 by 8, 8 by 8, 8 by 9, 8 by 11. We offer lots of different sizes based on what people need. And then we do go all the way up to large team offices that are 14 by 14 or whatever. So again, we want to give as many different options to whoever might come in the door to help fit their needs.
That's really cool. And what I did like about the program, what you have, is the three different levels of membership.
Yes,
And
sir.
I thought, well, I'm not ready to spring. I don't need a dedicated office yet,
Yes. Yes.
but I wanted something, like I said before, a Daytona Beach presence where I can entertain a client and do the video presentations in the conference room and so on. So my choice was between the the desk, the non-dedicated desk for $200, or
Yep.
the dedicated desk for 325.
Yes.
Now, you didn't explain yet, and you might want to explain the other little spiffs, the
Yes.
bonuses that come along with those three different levels as far as, what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah, I
Go
totally can
ahead and
do.
explain those.
Yeah, so included with your membership, we offer lots of amenities in the space. And the first thing I'll talk about is the conference room and podcast studio. So, depending on the level of membership that you choose, you get an allotment of hours in our podcast room, conference room per month. And so, with for instance, our base membership, what we call an open desk membership, you get 2 hours a month that you can use in the podcast studio or conference room. If you want additional hours, you get 50% off the going rate. So if you're off the street and you come in and you want to record a podcast, we're going to charge you $30 an hour for that podcast time. If you're a member, you get 50% off of that. So you'd only pay $15 an hour.
Hmm.
Likewise, our conference room is $40 an hour for non-member. And so if you're a member and you go over your allotment based in your membership, you would pay $20 an hour, which is great. On top of that, we do free parking. We have security throughout the building that's included. The building turns on when you walk in the space. So if you walk in at 10 at night or 2 in the morning and you want to hammer some workout, the building will sort of turn on with you so you feel safe. We do lots of networking events. We do waffle Wednesdays, smoothies on Tuesdays, coffee happy hours on Thursdays. I do a whiskey tasting every other month where we bring in like 10, 15 bottles of whiskey. I'll smoke some barbecue, like a pork butt or a brisket or something, and just create an experience where people can come in, super laid back networking event, and meet some other people and have some fun drinking some whiskey and eating some barbecue at the same time. We also do free coffee, cold brew, espresso, regular drip, French press. We do free beer on tap for people. And we change the beers out whenever the keg empties. And then we also do refreshments and snacks at all times. So, and again, it all goes back to what I talked about at the beginning. We want you to be able to come into the space and only worry about being successful. I don't want you to worry about utility bills and finding a receptionist and getting a phone line and where you're going to get internet and how are you going to get coffee and snacks and all of those things. You come into my office, come into Workspace today, everything is set up and ready for you to be able to attack the day and win.
And that's how it is. That's really how it is. You mentioned the 2 hours a day for the podcast, the conference rooms, but there's
2 hours a month.
more hours available for the other two.
Correct. And so that's the base membership. So if you go to our dedicated desk, you get, I want to say you get 6 hours a month in the podcast room or conference room. And then if you go up to a private office, depending on the size of the office, you can get, up to 12 or 14 hours a month in the podcast room or conference room, which is nice. And then, in a spirit of being flexible, we have people that'll come to us with a need for a specialized plan. For instance, I can't work in the space during the day. I only want to be able to come in nights and weekends. Perfect. We can design a plan for you. Or, hey, I only want to use your podcast studio, which we do with lots of right now. We do about 15 podcasts out of our two studios. If you want to just do podcasts, we'll create a plan for you that makes sense for us and for you, so you can come in and use the space for that.
Uh-huh.
And then
Flexible,
you didn't
flexible.
mention this, but we also do day passes and we do week passes. Those are really targeted for people that are either trying to figure out if co-working is right for them, or we get a lot of traveling business people, a lot of traveling salespeople that just need a space for a day, or a couple days here and there or whatever. And we want to be able to offer a solution.
Yeah, let me talk about the traveling fellow. So I was in the office last week. Let's see, might have been Wednesday
It
last week,
was.
and there was this young man sitting at the counter at the kitchen, and he's working away, and I had to go over. I was lured over to the free snacks, and so I'm dishing up some snacks and struck up a conversation with this fellow because I'm learning how to network. And anyway, so as it turns out, this kid has come down here from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and me and my family were from Wisconsin originally, so we had point of contact, and talked about the state and so on. And he's down here visiting his dad, who lives in Ormond Beach, and he owns a business up in Wisconsin that they build these tiny homes, these little miniature, they look like houses, only smaller. And
Yes.
so he's building those and he's thinking about maybe doing something down here. Well, I have a friend who owns 25 acres of land or 27 acres, and he's wanting to develop it and do some campground type things there. So
Yes.
I said, give me your card, Graham. And so I passed it on to my friend. Those two met on Saturday and struck up, a great friendship and conversation. And they may do some
Right.
business, but then it was all part of this network thing that this guy just happened to be in town. I don't even know how he found your office and
Yes.
stumbled in. You must have given him or sold him a day pass or something. And
Yes.
that's just how one thing led to another. I'm also gonna to have him meet or turn him on to one of the guys in our chamber group that does mortgages. And because
Love
one of
it.
the things with these little houses is the banks don't know what to do with them because they're not like a real
Yes.
house on a piece of property. And
Yes.
so this guy, Matthew, might know how to deal with that. So one thing leads to another, and it was just like a chance meeting. Actually, I call it a divine appointment because that's how I walk. And
Russ, that
and
makes the
so
hair on the back of my neck stand up. It
me
was
too.
the what we didn't know when we opened up in 2019 was the relationships and the personalities that each building would end up taking on by
Hmm.
the people, by the members that join our space. And that is what gives me goosebumps is the fact that that story, you know, you met because you guys were both at Workspace. I have a similar story with Graham. I introduced him to a guy that we do a lot of work with in Ocala that is a veteran and does a lot of veteran nonprofit stuff. And they're in talks about providing veteran housing
Hmm.
for people across the US now.
Wow.
So, it's just that is the secret sauce to what we're providing is
Uh-huh.
these relationships that sort of build in the space. You didn't approach him like, hey, I want to sell you something. You approached him and said, hey, I'm Russ.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
your name? Are you
yeah.
new here? And really there's just so much power in that type of environment. And that's really what when we had spoke to Graham, that's what he was looking for. He's like, hey, I want to find like-minded people. And people all the time will ask me what type of individuals, what type of businesses join. And this is my answer now, 5 years in, is we all different types, all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different industries, but there's a common thread of wanting to be successful, working hard to get there, and wanting to meet people.
Uh-huh.
And when you combine all of that in a space where you're seeing people pretty often, I think special things kind of happen, man. So that I appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah, that's just really cool. And we're all there for business, but we recognize that we're not just an island, but
Yes.
we depend on other people. We depend
Yes.
on these relationships and
Yes.
one person leading us to another. Now, obviously, being a Grant Cardone certified business coach who sells, sales training and business coaching, I would like to call him a client one day and sell him
Yes.
some of my awesome services. Okay.
Yes.
But it starts out with the friendship thing and hey, what are you doing? Who are you? And this and that. And hey, I know somebody that you might want to meet, and who knows what could happen. Well, as it turns out, Zach, is that this fella Graham from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, might end up leasing some of that 25 acres on my friend's property to
Yes.
build
Yes.
their Florida operation at.
Yes.
And so it's just you just don't know. It's
You just
exciting to get up in
you
the
just
morning.
don't know. And that's the thing. And
Yeah,
this is why you're successful as well, is it's the know, like, and trust mentality.
yeah,
Is you really want the easiest time to sell something is when you're not selling something and you weren't selling anything. You were offering friendship and offering a hand to help the guy.
yeah,
And when you put that out in the universe, it comes back to you tenfold. And
yeah.
that's really what we're about, man. So
Yep.
it's just excellent to see it in live action last
Right.
week.
That is, yeah, that's just really cool. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned her twice by name, but you haven't told us really who she is,
Who?
Dakota.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, so our community manager, really excited about our team in general that we've built, and especially Dakota. We typically interview 30 to 50 people before we find the right fit for our community manager role. And in Daytona, we did about 45 people,
Mm.
and phone, in person, et cetera. And Dakota stuck out to us from the beginning. Really, really pleased with her as a person, with her values and what she brings to the table, and been exponentially impressed since she actually started working with us. She's a go-getter. She takes initiative. She brings a lot of value to the team. She is a positive thinker, and this is the person that really, there's so many titles for a community manager. She's a director of first impressions. She is the person that is sort of leading the charge for us in Daytona, and we just couldn't be happier with her and where we're going.
Oh, you're gonna give her a big head for sure. I don't know if I don't know if she should see this, but I agree with everything you said. She's just very likable and knows what she's doing. She's had to learn some things because she's brand
Yes.
new at it, as is
Yes.
the office location. But
Yes.
she's proven herself to be very teachable in the whole
Yes.
thing. And I would say that she is more willing, folks, to help you get to where you want to be. She'll help you in any way that she can and the company can. And if
Yes.
you walk in, she's going to be the first person you see. And she's the one who's there when you and your partner Adam are gone. You guys are
Yes.
you're becoming circuit riders basically, because you've got three locations and soon to be a fourth one in Sanford. You're going to be
Yes.
traveling around. So she's the one
Yes.
that'll be there on the day-to-day basis. Getting kind of close on time here, so that you need to leave, but
Yep.
let's just see if you've got anything, last thing you want to say to somebody that's maybe shopping, that has an idea of, I really need to move out of where I'm at and make a change and so on.
Yeah.
Anything you might want to just reiterate.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that in two parts. I'm going to answer it first from just a entrepreneur level, right? And then secondly from a co-working answer. So the first part of what I would tell people is, if you've got a great idea, if you've got a side hustle that you've been waiting to do, if there's a huge difference between talking about it and being about it.
Yeah.
And I think now take this as your sign to push forward, and don't let people tell you it's not going to work. People will always hate on ideas because they wish it was them that had a dream.
Yeah.
And so don't quit, right? Jimmy Valvano always said, don't give up, don't ever give up. And I mean that like wholeheartedly. If you've got a passion, if you've got a dream, if you've got something you've been wanting to do, today's the day. Like, make it happen. And I'll segue on that to say that's what we're here for. And if you sit down with myself or Adam or Ashley or Cassandra, you're going to get that impression right away. We are here to help you be successful. And whatever that looks like, we're here. If it's making connections, if it's a place to work where you know that you can come in and turnkey and do that, I'm here for you. If you need help with a podcast, if you need to set up a bank account, whatever it is that we can do to help you be more successful, that's what we're about. When you are looking at where you're going to work, for us, it's about being as productive as you can in the environment that you're at, but also having fun while you're doing it. And
Mhm.
this environment, I think, speaks to that, right? We're all about you being successful, but at the end of the day, we still want you to have fun doing it. And hopefully, if you're in Daytona Beach, in Ocala, Florida, in Sanford, Florida, by the end of the year, I hope you give us a chance.
Indeed, indeed. Um, and for $200,
Yes, sir.
you can get into one of these open desks and come in whenever you want, 8 to 5, and you're good to go. You've got all the amenities available at your fingertips for $200 a month.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, golly gee, if you don't have that much money, that you can invest in a physical location with a downtown Daytona Beach address.
Yes. You
You
know
got to
what,
work
Russ,
a
you bring
little
up a
harder to make some more money so you can do that.
you bring up a good point. If you're setting up a business, do not use a PO box. Do not use your own address. You don't want your home address on Sunbiz where the crazies can find you.
Yeah,
You use my address. Use a workspace address. Show up on Google My Business. We're here to help.
indeed. And we have never lived in Daytona Beach. We've lived in the suburbs,
Yes, sir.
surrounding towns, but I've always wanted to be a Daytona Beach business, okay,
Yes, sir.
on the internet, on paper, whatever. And so I had a post office box, which I'm in the process of getting rid of
Yes,
because
sir.
now I have a great physical address, which is going to do a wonderful job. So, in back when I started in business in Daytona in Florida, I didn't know about this concept of co-working and all this flexible stuff. And so,
Yes.
it's been a thing. So in closing, they can reach you, your address is, and your phone number is, and your email address is.
Yep. So you can reach me. My phone number is area code 352-250-8376. You can reach me. That's my cell. You can call me. My physical location in Daytona Beach is 132 West International Speedway Boulevard, and that's Daytona Beach. And then my email is info@ workspace-collective.com. That's info@ workspace, one word, -collective.com. Again, my name is Zachary Cox, and hopefully I look forward to hearing from you.
Cool deal. And you have a phone number for the office itself too, right?
I do. I can
What
give
is
that
that?
number too. That number, hold on, I gotta look it up because I don't know it by heart. That number is 877-490-0040. 877-490-0040.
There you go. Okay, folks. What are you waiting for? Okay.
Let's go.
You need a place to hang your hat, to sit your bottom, to do your work. That's the place. One last thing. How did you come up with Workspace-Collective? That's a unique name.
Yeah, we're picking a name is like everything is so difficult. We threw a bunch of them out there. We wanted people to know what co-working was and nobody does, especially on the East Coast. So we wanted to reflect that it was a place to work, but we also wanted, remember, we're all about community. And so we wanted to bring in that community or collective um, uh, uh, piece to the name. And it's funny, Adam and I were playing golf. And I think Adam is the one that came up with it. He was teeing off. He turned around and looked at me. He's like, I got it. Workspace-Collective. And instantly I was like, that's the name. We called the girls to make sure that they were on board. They loved it. And Workspace-Collective was born.
Look at that. And that was that was 2019.
That
So,
was that was that was end of 2018.
hmm,
We opened the LLC in January 1st of 2019, and we opened up our first location October of 2019.
awesome. Good job. Success all along the way. And
I'm
may
trying,
that
man.
continue on. May that
Hey,
continue.
Russ, last thing I want to say to you is thank you for having me on. Big supporter of everything that you're doing in the community and everything you're doing with us. Really appreciate the opportunity. And, as we continue to grow together, anything we can do to help, man, let us know.
That's cool. That's cool. Tell your friends.
I
So,
will. We
all
will be
right.
sharing this everywhere.
All right. Wonderful. Thanks, folks, for tuning in today. And this is Russ with RST Coaching Academy, the host here of Daytona Beach Business Talks, interviewing my friend and landlord, Zachary Cox. And it's been a great time, I think. Zach
Oh,
thinks,
it's
I'm
been
pretty
awesome.
sure.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it. I'm
And
smiling ear to ear.
yeah, so hopefully you've gotten something out of this too. And if you're in that market and you realize that you need to move, you need to get someplace, this is the place. You know what? Between you and me, there's a couple of these places downtown. This is the best. These guys are brand new. They're
Let's
very
go.
professional. The operation is awesome and the place is beautiful. Stop by, meet Dakota, meet Zach, meet his partner Adam, And maybe I'll be there too, show you around. So anyway,
Let's
until
go.
next time, Russ with Daytona Beach Business Talks, signing off. Till then. All right, take care. Over and out.
See
Bye-bye.
you.
So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Daytona Beach Business Talks. I hope you found this episode interesting and informative as you perhaps learned about a business here in the area that you were not aware of before. At any rate, it may be something that you might find yourself contacting and want to do some business with them, and they'll appreciate it, and I'll be honored to be of assistance in this process. In the meantime, if there's anything that I can do at RST Coaching Academy, please give me a call at 386-286-2450, or you can email me at email@rstcoachingacademy.com. Until next time, we'll see you around town. Take care. Bye-bye.